All right, welcome everybody. Let me get live on Facebook here real quick, make sure that we are good to go. All right, let me make sure we are live here. All right, we're live. Okay, great. This is great because now I can watch you guys. I'm going to watch for my comments here on you all joining us live on Facebook. I want to say a special shout out to our VIP room as well, and some of our newest members that joined VIP. VIP is kind of fun because if you want one-on-one coaching, right now, if you're watching this on Facebook, then you can leave comments, you can ask questions, we can try to answer them. But if you want actual step-by-step coaching, then join VIP. You've got a few more days of live coaching this week through April 14th, which is Friday. And you also get the recordings of anything you might have missed up until now. So let me tell you, the gold is happening in the VIP room. And I'm going to have Micah post here in the Facebook group how to join. It's only $30. It's $30. We had someone that joined us on Friday who joined VIP literally on Friday. And by Monday, he had several $1,000s in commitments to his big idea and was starting from scratch with zero, just from the support of the group. He had 2 sponsors. He had somebody that wanted to sponsor him monthly, and he had 5 people that wanted to buy his book that, by the way, he hasn't even started writing yet. So if you want to learn how to monetize things very quickly, no matter if you're a coach, a speaker, an author, maybe you own a business already and you want to level up your business, you want to take it to the next level. This week, we're going to be talking about how to find and recruit salespeople, how to build a sales team using a sales formula, because every single person in business needs more sales. Everybody needs more clients and less competition. Every consumer wants one thing. They want the best value. Nobody says, oh, I got the 3rd best deal on my truck, right? Everybody wants the best value. And when you are looking to get clients, you give value first, right? And it's one of the principles that we use at our company and here at Defining Moments. We are a self-help based business where we help people either come in and learn something new. Either they want to learn a skill, they want to overcome something in their life. We can help partner you up with a mentor who will take your hand and walk you through that experience so you're not alone. I don't care if you've gone through divorce, bankruptcy, foreclosure, maybe you're grieving the loss of somebody. I don't mean I don't care. I do care. I'm saying it doesn't matter what your circumstance is that you are struggling with and trying to overcome. It might be a personal tragedy. It might be a business stress. You know, I've been through it all. I've been through the ringer, and you wouldn't believe my story. You can go back and watch a lot of videos where you can see the history. I recommend watching last Friday's, which was at April 7th. You can also catch them on our YouTube channel, Defining Moments, where you can subscribe and get live updates, or you can just stay here in the Facebook group and get our live updates and trainings every week as well. But if you want to be where the cool kids are, come join the VIP and get all the hours. There's probably, 15 hours of trainings that we've done. So if you're finding value in this stuff, I'd love to invite you to come in and join us. You can even do it today, right now, and you'll get that notice for how to join the VIP. Now, let's get crackety-lacking on today's subject, which is tracking, stacking, and packing. That's really fun to say. So pretty much anything that you want to do in life, if you want to be successful at it, you need to track it, right? If you want something to grow or change, you track it. How many of you are parents out there? Put parent in the chat. And those of you, I love going back and seeing your comments in the chat, even if you're watching the replay of this, because when I see that I've got a bunch of parents in the house, it helps me cater what I'm talking about specifically to help you guys as parents, because I'm a parent as well. I'm a single parent. It's not easy, right? But I love to know a little bit more about the people in the group, right? If you're an author, if you're a speaker, if you're a coach, if you're a business owner, what kind of business, those are things that help me really structure this directly to you and make sure we're giving you value, right? The other day, everybody in our group, a lot of people were authors. So we went through the book process. On Friday, we had people that wanted to be speakers, and we threw down a challenge in our VIP room. And one of them, Nigel, who's actually been with us a couple of years, he took this challenge and he's actually booked like 4 gigs in the last few days on podcasts and speaking, paid speaking and training, plus being a guest on really big podcasts. Like, it's pretty cool. So it's nice to see people taking action based on what we're talking about and actually moving the needle, because everything that we talk about here is about getting results. Okay. And this is why I want to stress this. I don't want to, I really hate all the online things where people just get on and talk about what they ate, and they talk about, look at me, or feel sorry for me. Like, that seems to be what people talk about on social media these days. For me, I'm very results driven, and I want to see you get results. So right now, what I want you guys to decide before we go forward, I want everybody to put in the chat. Okay, if you're watching this back live or replay, still put it in there. I want you to decide what is going to help you move the needle in the next 90 days. We are in the second quarter of the year, people. At the end of this quarter, we will be at the 50% mark. At the end of this quarter, we're going to be in the middle of the summer. Some of you may have a goal to hit a certain weight or to be able to be bikini ready. You got 6 weeks until the beginning of June. It's still possible, right? Some of you are looking for this love relationship, right? Some of you are trying to move the needle in your business, grow a business, start a business. Maybe you're at 300,000 or 400,000 a year and you want to scale to $1 million, or maybe you're hitting $1 million and you want to go to 5 to 10 million. We have clients that have 8-figure businesses because they were on these coaching calls and they did everything that we taught them how to do, and they took action. So this is what I want to say today. Make a goal, put in the chat, manifest this. I want you to declare it and put in the chat, what is your goal? Is it to grow a list in your business so you can get more clients? Is it to make more money? What's your income goal? And here's something really big, hairy, and audacious, okay? Take your annual income goal. Let's say it's $1 million, okay, or 150,000 or 200,000, and let's move that to 90 days. Let that sink in for a second. If you have an annual income goal and you can make it in the next 90 days, imagine what that would do for your life, for your family, for your business. And the funny thing is, if you can do it in a year, why can't you do it in 90 days? The only difference is the volume of clients that you have. You see what I'm saying? Some of you are only getting 1 or 2 new clients a month. Some of you are getting 10 or 15, depending on what you're charging. And one of the things I want to teach you is that you should, every single one of you, if you're a coach, a consultant, a mentor, you're an expert in your field and you have knowledge, maybe you're thinking of retiring and you're thinking of how can I benefit people that are up and coming and just getting their license in the industry, right? Every single one of you should be charging at least $3,000 for a service, every single one of you. Now, some people may go, but wait, I'm seeing all these masterminds and seeing all these things out there where people are doing $30, like my VIP. Here's the deal. When you've made over $1 million a year and you have a big list, then you can do these small offers, right? Because I can do a VIP offer and get a ton of people to join VIP because of the value. I can even have existing clients that want to come to these live events every single day, right? Because some of our clients are only getting these coachings once a week or twice a week. They want daily nourishment, right? Like you go to church, you don't just pray once a week. You don't just eat a meal once a week. You have daily nourishment. If those of you that are spiritual and you need that prayer and faith, it's a daily thing. Like when I woke up this morning, instead of checking my email and letting my brain run off the rails of all the things that could go wrong and all the stress that I'm dealing with, like, oh, taxes are due. Well, do I have an extension? Can we get our books done? All the things that we all have to deal with. If I let my brain take over in the morning, I won't even get out of bed yet, and already things start to go wrong. Okay? So like and before I even got out of bed, before I even had coffee, but guess what? Years ago, I got to interview as a journalist, because some of you may or may not know, I've owned magazines, newspapers. I've been a journalist for 30 years in multiple categories and stages. And I got to interview the woman who wrote The Secret. You know the book, The Secret? And Rhonda Byrne is her name. And one of the things that she shared with me, and do you know she wrote that book in 2 weeks? 2 weeks. She did these recordings and these interviews. And she didn't invent the law of attraction, by the way. She didn't invent it. Okay, it was already out there. It's been out there forever. All she did is repackage it. She repackaged it. She repurposed it. She made it relevant for that day. And we still follow that today, some of you. It's really hard to activate it though. Some of you maybe you've tried and you go, it's not working for me. But here's one of the tricks that she did. And I always love to share tools with you guys. So she basically said to me, I said, how in the world did you manifest this entire like show? Like she literally went and filmed this show, transcribed it, took the interviews of all these major speakers. And by the way, she built a massive list because she had people like Bob Proctor and all these thought leaders from all over the world that also had big lists. So there's more on that in a minute. There's a strategy to that of who you invite to speak at events, right? Based on their influence and who they have on their list that can help you join your list. So anyways, she assembled these thought leaders from all over the planet. She recorded all of this stuff, and then she transcribed it and edited it into the book. So it became a book, it became a video series, and then it became about mentoring and consulting services for the people that participated. That was the model, but she did it all in 2 weeks. Okay. And I said, how did you do that? Don't you want to know? How many of you say secret? Put secret in the chat if you want to know the secret. The secret to the secret. The secret behind the secret. Here's what she said. She said, every morning I would wake up and I would just, before I let my feet hit the ground, I would stay in bed and think of all the things that I was grateful for. And I would stay in that space and go through the list of the people and the things and the circumstances that I was grateful for. And I would stay in that space until it brought me to tears. And I would start my day with that powerful intention. Now think about that. Some of you, you hit snooze, you wake up late, you're already freaked out because now you're rushing off to go to work or school or wherever you're going, or you've got to get your kids up and go to school, or you got to make breakfast for everybody, and you're already starting the day behind. And do you notice that when you start your space in your day with that kind of energy, everything goes wrong? If you're 5 minutes late for the first meeting, you're 5 minutes late the rest of the day because you're scheduled too tight. And maybe you're spread too thin. So maybe some of you, your goal is to get your time back. But can you imagine how amazing your day would be if you chose to start it that way? And it doesn't take long. And of course, I asked her, well, what if you had to pee? And she said, I don't care if I had to pee. I stayed in that space, even if I had to pee, until I was moved to tears. And I'm telling you, this stuff is powerful. It's all about energy. And you have the ability to control your energy and how you respond to other people and circumstances and how you create that space for yourself that's safe and beautiful and sacred. Okay, so this is just one tool, the secret tool that you guys can use. And by the way, that's a tool. Okay, how many of you are coaches or you want to be coaches, consultants, or mentors? Put coach in the chat for me, please. The only difference in those who are coaches and those who want to be coaches is they don't have anybody to coach. And what the thing is, you've got to develop tools and you've got to create that for yourself. If you're a coach and you write a book about a process and steps that are going to help people get from over here to where they want to be, then you've got to include those tools in your book. If you're a speaker, you've got to include those tools in your speech. You don't have to give all the tools. You should have at least 50 tools. If you're a coach, think of yourself as a handyman and you're trying to come fix something. Now, I say this all the time, but if you showed up at somebody's house as a handyman and all you had was a hammer, you're not going to fix anything. You're going to limit and restrict because you only have one tool. If you have this truck with, your brand all over it and a whole bunch of custom tools decked out inside this truck and you roll up in that, not only do you have more credibility, but you're going to be able to build an entire house with your hands, even with a small team. So that's the truth. You don't need to go hire a huge contractor with all the tools and their team. You could save a lot of money and build something very valuable with the right team and the right tools. So this is what I'm trying to teach you guys. Some of you are solopreneurs. You're just starting out. Maybe you've been in business for a while. And my mentor, Tony Robbins, says, if you are not growing your business year after year, and maybe you've been in business for 10 years and you don't have any growth, and you're at the same place that you've been for 10 years, guess what? You have a business that's 1 year old, that's duplicating itself by 10. In other words, you've only been in business 1 year. If you've been in business 10 years, you should have growth. If you're not seeing growth, it's because you're not doing this one thing, the most important thing. Okay. And there's 3 steps today I'm going to give you. They are tracking, stacking, and packing. Okay. Write that down. Take notes. I don't have slides. This is just a chat today with y'all. I didn't put together a formal training because I try to keep it fluid based on your comments. And I'm watching your comments. So thank you guys for sharing that. Okay. So if you want something to grow or change, track it. Going back to my parents here in the group. When your kids were little, what did you do? You put their thing on the wall, right? You watch their growth. And I have a son that's now 14 and another one that's 21. When they were little, they were little. They were always the shortest in their class, and they always wanted to play basketball. They were the last to get picked on the teams at recess, and they were short. And they picked an industry that rewards tall players, right? Where if you're tall, you can just stand there and be like a tree and like get picked on a team every time. So they were so frustrated. So one time what I did is I went and I Googled, what's the average height in America for a 12-year-old boy? And my son was only 1 inch shorter than the average height. And I said, you're not below average, you're close to it. So I said, here's the goal. So I went to his little frame in his doorway and I said, where do you want to be? And he goes, I want to be 5'2". I think he was like 4'8". I said, okay, well, guess what? You're about to enter a growth spurt. It's called puberty. There's going to be some good things and some things you might not like, but the benefit of it is you're going to grow, and you might even grow 6 inches in the next year. That's the other average that we looked at. So here's where you are and here's where you want to be. And we targeted, we set that target and that goal. And I showed him, like I said, look, I want you to see it's only a few inches, right? That's it. And this is where you want to be. So even something like physically growing, it was a goal, it was a target, and we literally put it on the wall. And you know what's so cute is when his brother got a puppy, then I noticed one day I went to his door, and this was like 2 years ago, and the puppy was brand new. And he had taken a black Sharpie on my white door, and it started putting growth marks at the bottom of the door for the puppy. So cute. I was like kind of mad. I'm like, oh, but that's so cute. And so the puppy was way down here, and he was like, don't worry, puppy, you'll be tall, you'll be big someday. And we looked at her paws, and she is an Australian Shepherd and a Rottweiler. And I said, look at her paws. At some point, she's going to be a 100-pound dog, and she's going to grow a lot in the next 2 years. And they couldn't believe it. And they look back at these pictures. There's this tiny little cute dog who's now this such a big dog, we can barely walk her. And I said, the same thing's going to happen to you. You have to trust that growth is inevitable. As a human being, you grow physically every day. And if you stop growing emotionally and mentally and spiritually, that's a choice. Do you all understand that? Some of us start to grow out. Instead of we stop growing up, our cells start to change and we start growing out and we get wider. I notice men, their necks get thicker, right? When they go from boys to men, their voice changes, everything. So that's the idea, is that everything that's out there is either growing or it's dying. Growth is the number one most important thing, especially if you want a business. Okay. If you're a speaker, you want more stages. If you're an author, you want to sell more books, right? If you're a business owner, you want more clients. If you're in a loving relationship, you want more quality time with the person you love. If you don't have that relationship, then you want to try to focus on your target of who and what you want and eliminate what you don't want. You guys are going to laugh, but my friends love this. So for years, I have it around here somewhere because I found it when I was cleaning the other day. When I was single and I was looking for that person, my soulmate, there was a point where I was like, are you my soulmate? Are you my soulmate? It was kind of like, you know, Horton, was it Horton Hears a Who? And he was looking for his mother. Are you my mother? Are you my mother? Right? I was looking in all the wrong places. And I was like, you know, attracting stray dogs and all these people that were so broken because I was like, you know, going through a divorce and I wasn't in a good place. I didn't realize I wasn't emotionally stable. And I was attracting people who were emotionally unstable that weren't ready for a relationship. And they certainly weren't ready to get married, which is what I wanted. Right. So when you're self-aware and you start tracking those things, it's going to make a huge difference in who you attract. And you attract who you are, not what you want. You attract what you are. So when you want to attract that person, you've got to work on yourself. And it's funny, I've actually got a whole training on that is pretty powerful. And it's called a vision book. It's like a life book. I mean, it's like a vision board, but it's in a book form. And it is the most powerful thing that manifests like everything you want. It's crazy. And it'll show you how to live your life at the 1% level, which only 1% of the population can live. I'm not talking about just wealth. I'm talking about health, freedom, spirituality, parenting, relationships, like how you show up for people, leadership. And it's pretty profound shift, and anybody can do it, right? And now we actually built this whole formula with it. It's pretty cool. So that's something that we're going to be working on this year to be able to bring to you guys. How many of you would love to be in the 1% club? Put 1% in the chat. 1%. Okay, like the same with authors. Only 1% of authors actually make a living with their book. You know, 99% of people that write a book maybe only sell 100 copies. We work with that 1%. The same way 80% of people say, I want to write a book, and only 1% actually do it. So there's a lot riding on that 1% in every industry. You know, when you look at real estate agents, there's something like only 1% that are making over 200,000 a year. So the idea is that you have to get used to being in the minority. You have to get used to understanding if you want to take your business and your life to the next level, you got to be used to not being like everybody else and be okay with that. And you might have to make changes to who your friends are and who your influencers are. And I'll tell you, when you get into this powerful pod of people that are loving and kind and supportive and encouraging, and they're also bettering themselves, and you get surrounded by people like that, there's power in proximity. There's power in proximity, because those are the people, just like what happened with Travis in our VIP room last Friday. He came in brand new that day, and everyone surrounded him with love and support, and he was blown away. I'm like, wow, I can't believe there are people out there who think like I think. He came up with this huge, big, crazy idea, and we showed him step by step how to fund it. Okay, in about 10, 15 minutes, we went through step by step how to grow that to over $1 million in just 90 days. He has to fund this mission for the next 2 years. And it was a big idea. And we showed him how to even bring corporate sponsors to it, and how to get funding right away. And he went and did what we told him to do on Friday. And by Monday, he had all this success already, starting with $0. Okay. Mother Teresa started with 3 cents. She had this big vision. Everyone laughed at her. And she said, with 3 cents in God, I can do anything. And she had this unshakable faith and conviction. And she had a why that was so much bigger than herself. And you know what she did with those 3 pennies? She went out and started partnering with the churches, and she went to the poorest countries. And I mean, the poorest areas of India, in Calcutta, India, to the streets, to people that were literally dying on the streets, and loved them and led with love and conviction and faith. And she built a $100 million organization. And a lot of the corporate policies, the 90-day corporate policies that you see today, were actually created by Mother Teresa. She used to say, if you have somebody that you hire and they don't have joy for what they do after 90 days, cut them loose. Here's a saint saying, cut them loose. Okay. So the point is, you can fire a volunteer. It's okay to let go of somebody who doesn't align with your vision. Those of you hiring teams, maybe you've made the mistake of hiring the wrong person, and out of loyalty and wanting to help them and thinking they're a great person, you didn't let them go. And then you're holding them back from something that's a better fit for them. It's all how you look at things. That's leadership, right? So tracking, let's get back to tracking. All right, make your goal for the quarter. Is your goal this next 90 days, is it to write your book and be a best-selling author? Because you can do that in the next 90 days. In fact, tomorrow, I'm going to be on a different training where we're going to do that in an hour. An hour. It's going to be pretty exciting. And I'll share that with you guys at some point. Okay. Do you want to build a list? If you don't have a big list, you're probably not making a lot of money. And rather than try to go grow your social media campaigns and get more followers, guess what? I think it was Frank Kern, one of my mentors. He said, guess what? You know, it's funny, no matter how many followers I have, they don't follow me to the bank. I can't deposit followers in my bank account. I can't have followers pay my bills or my house payments, right? He has a big house payment. He's a giant castle, like in, San Diego. So here's the deal. Followers don't necessarily become buyers, right? You don't need more followers. You need buyers. You need people who believe in your vision, who want to support your ideas, and who are in alignment with your values and your offers. And you want to get comfortable with making offers and understanding sales and marketing, because guess what? That is ultimately how you connect with people. There are people, I'm sure, like people that even paid for our VIP that said, hey, what a great investment, because the next day something massive happened. Heidi joined last week. She paid $30 to join our VIP. She loved the training so much. The next day she came in and paid for her brother to write a book and to work with us to do this 60-day challenge or 8-week challenge for her brother to get his book done in the next 8 weeks. How many of you are interested in writing a book and getting it finished and ready and published as a best-selling author in the next 8 weeks? Put book in the chat. And I'm going to have Micah actually put a link in the chat for how you can make that happen. You can join our author challenge. In fact, it ends today, is the last day to register for that, because it's second quarter and we're going to move the needle. So if you're not ready to do it, then you might be able to wait till next quarter or next year. But if you're serious about getting it done and you're tired of procrastinating and you don't want another year to go by before your book is done, then come do it and we'll hold you accountable, because we get on calls like this and we move the needle. You cannot fail if you are here with us. Okay, so tracking, getting back to tracking. If you want something to grow or change, track it. So when people are in contribution mode, they add value. They don't just show up and take. They're go-givers. Have you ever heard go-getter? These are go-givers. This is what I want to teach you guys how to be, as a go-giver, where you constantly give value first, and you're going to attract the right people into your beliefs or into your tribe or your group or your masterminds or your hemisphere, right? So we can put out, we have a list that's enough where we can put out something on our email list. If I wanted to send out an email every single day and make an offer every single day, I know that it would generate income, because we have a list of buyers and we have tags and we know whether that person's interested in author or speaker or whatever. So we try not to like spam them with things they don't want. We look at where they are and where they want to grow, and we make sure we give them the content that they want. And when you're afraid, you will fail, because fear and faith don't coexist. And fear will rob you of more than anyone else in your life ever could. And that is something that you can control 100%, right? When people are scared, they break their word. They make a commitment. Oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And then they move their date. Well, guess what? If you're pregnant, if those parents out there, those moms out there, if you're pregnant and your due date is this date, can you decide, I'm scared, I'm going to move my date? How many of you have been able to change your due date by a few months if you're pregnant? Nope. No one, no one, zero. Put in the chat if you did. No. Okay. That's what I thought. So the point is that when you have this commitment and you have that same conviction and commitment of a baby that's saying, hey, I'm coming out in the world, whether ready or not, here I come, right? That's what the baby said. And they're here, and now they're taller than me. It's crazy. But if you have that kind of commitment to this goal that I want you to set right now, And I want to hold you accountable to it because we're going to check back in with you on our Facebook group or in our VIP group. We want to know, are you hitting your goal? Are you using these tools to hit your goal? So when you're tracking, you can see everything you did, how long it actually takes. If you want to get your time back, start tracking your time, right? Even for the next 7 days, every minute, track your time. Just write it down on a piece of paper, keep it on notes in your phone. How long does it take you to do things, to shower, to get ready, to put on makeup, to do your hair, to figure out what you're going to wear, to prepare your breakfast, your routines? How long, how much time does it take you to do what you normally do, and start to become aware of it? Okay. You can track your emotions. You can track your mood. If you notice that you're doing this a lot, or you have a lot of fear and anxiety, you need to be aware of it, because the number one step to changing anything is self-awareness. If you don't think you have a problem, if you go, you know what, there's nothing wrong with me, there's just something wrong with my bank account. It's just my bank account, and it's everybody else's fault because they're not paying me enough. If you blame your boss for your lack of money, or you blame your boss because they're not paying you enough, so those of you that are working a job, if it's your boss's fault you can't pay your house payment, you got a bigger issue. It's leadership. It's how you show up. It's not your leader. It's not the person leading or guiding you or managing you. Most people don't want to be managed. They want to be led. So when you invest in yourself, in leadership, and not just being a manager, your team will respond too. For those of you that are managers or leaders in your work. And guess what? All of you are leaders. If you're a parent, you're a leader, because you're teaching somebody, you're showing and living by example. If you're a teenager, you're a leader. There are young kids looking up to you every day at the skate park, at school. If you're a young adult, you're a leader. There are other people at your work looking at you, watching how you respond to conflict, how you treat your boss. Do you show up late and make excuses? Do you, show up for work and smell like pot? I mean, and I'm not saying that's an age thing. I'm just saying there are people that do that, and other people will judge you for how you show up. I had a guy that came to fix something at my house last week, and I'm in California and marijuana is legal. So it just seems like lately now it's kind of like everybody, like not everybody, but a lot of people show up in places and they just reek of marijuana. If they reeked of alcohol, wouldn't you kind of go, wow, they're kind of, it's the middle of the day, right? When you have that thought, even if they're smoking cigarettes. So the point is that everybody judges you on how you show up. So if you want people to respect you and treat you as a professional, then you got to look at how are you showing up. And I was trying really hard not to be judgmental. And I had to really stop myself from calling the company and being a Karen and going, he showed up smelling like pot at my house. And I have teenagers, right? I don't want to be that person. But that thought honestly went through my head. And it made me not respect him as much. And I'm just being honest. I hope it's okay. I'm being honest with you guys. It made me not respect him as much as a professional. He could have been the best handyman in the world, but it kind of turned me off a little bit. So what are you doing that's turning people off in your own business? And we all do it. I do it every day. But if I sit here and obsess about what am I doing to turn people off, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn people off, because my energy is shifting towards focusing on that instead of focusing on how can I serve my clients? How can I give the most incredible value? How can I ask them, what is it going to take to make this the best year of your life, right? What's going to make this the best 2023 for you, and what's missing? And how can we help fill the gap? Because guess what? We have hundreds of experts and resources that have already done the things you're trying to do. And if we can plug you in, whether you just get a free ebook and read their book and learn how to do something, or you can plug in and actually work with them. That's the beauty of what you don't have to figure it out on your own. This is what I love, connecting people. That's my superpower, is building platforms that give other people opportunities. And I've been doing it since I was 15 years old. And my first job was on the radio as a DJ. And then I started my first magazine at 21 years old and my first business at 18. So I've been doing this a long time, and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I've also learned a lot from those mistakes, millions of dollars in mistakes that I don't want to see y'all make. So this hopefully you're borrowing my business brain here for these 2 weeks. And this is really my gift to you, because I want to help you. and I've had the success and I've made the mistakes, but I want to see you take what I've done and go even bigger, like so many of you are doing right now, which is so exciting. Okay. So if you want to change something, you need to track it. Everybody clear on that? You got to set the target. If you have an income goal and you are in business, it is not a monthly goal. It is not an annual goal. You need money every single day. It's a daily goal. And you're going to get sick of seeing those zeros when you put up a chart. And I want y'all to do this. Track your money. Where are you spending your money? Just like you're spending your time. But you need to look at, here's my outcome. I don't have time to write a book. Well, where are you putting your time? I don't have time to create a new email campaign or go live online like what I'm doing right now. Guess what? You can do this every day for 20 minutes. Okay. You can do this every day for 20 minutes. You don't have to do it for an hour. You don't have to do VIP. You don't have to do all that stuff. You can just drive your email list to a social media platform and go live and engage and interact to find out what do they need. Because I'll tell you one thing, I don't create programs that people don't want to buy. If I know that I've got a lot of people that want XYZ, then I will go and build it for them. Because I would sell it first and then build it. And some of you are stuck in trying to aim so perfectly before you fire the trigger. And as a true entrepreneur, you shoot and then you adjust your aim. You don't worry about how many bullets are in that chamber, because sometimes you have to shoot and then adjust your aim. Nothing's going to align perfectly. When's the last time in your life everything aligned perfectly for you? I mean, maybe a few times in our life that we can actually think about how that all worked. Maybe wedding day, maybe the day your children were born, but I'm sure it didn't go as planned. And it was still a beautiful moment, right? Because you determined in advance that no matter what happens, it's going to be the best day of my life. You decided. And you can't measure it if you're not tracking it. Okay? So when you focus on money-making priorities, you keep your word. If you're doing busy work, people who live in overwhelm and chaos, they don't get stuff done. They don't know how to prioritize. So maybe you need help prioritizing. And you can't do that if you're not tracking where you're spending time. Those of you in sales, or those of you trying to grow your business where you're doing your own sales, or you're talking to clients, you don't have a sales team, I guarantee you, you're doing too much that doesn't generate income. You're doing the busy work because it's easy. Oh, I should send out an email, but I really need to go clean up the garage because it's bugging me. It's just driving me crazy and I can't work. You see what I'm saying? It's so easy to get distracted. So you have got to make that your priority, even if it's just 1 hour a day, dedicated every day to the things that generate income for you. For us, it's like making sales calls. You have to book so many calls. You've got to get on, the call. Like you have to have conversations with people, because conversations lead to cash. Conversations lead to conversions and enrollment. And the thing is, you're constantly enrolling people, whether you realize it or not. And those of you that are parents, your kids are always trying to enroll you in something. I got really good at sales because when I was a kid, I loved candy, and I was always convincing my parents that I needed candy. And it made me a great, Girl Scout, because I was always number one in sales with Girl Scouts. And I learned from my dad, because he used to sell Bibles door to door in college to put himself through law school. That's commitment. My parents had delayed gratification. Their first house was a dump. But now, after 60 years of being an attorney, my dad has made way more money off real estate than he ever made from being an attorney. Now he can do the things he loves. And guess what? He's even making money off his books. Passive income, thousands of dollars every month from books that he wrote when he was 85 years old, thanks to us helping him. And he did exactly what I told him to do. He listened to me. Imagine. Right? So the people that follow what I'm telling you have good results. They get success because they track it. So this is the most important thing. And whatever your goal is of that next 90 days, let's just break it down to 7 days and go put up a chart on the wall where you put today's date for the next 7 days. And you talk about, what are you doing? My charts, my tracking is every day I have my business tracking, like here's how much income goal every day, not just for me, for our team. Our sales team has goals they have to hit, and KPIs is called key performance indicators, right? That they have to hit. And if you have people that are selling on your team and they're not selling for a month, 2 months, how long are you going to keep them on? If they don't sell something every 2 weeks, they shouldn't be there because they're not doing what they're meant to be doing. Maybe they're not cut out for it. But if the goal is to hire somebody to get a certain result, if they're not performing, you've got to let them go, right? If you hire somebody to be a graphic designer and they're not capable, even if they're willing, you can give them training. But if people are not capable and willing, they have no place on your team and they shouldn't. And believe me, I have made that mistake too many times and it's cost me a lot of money over the years. But that's leadership. I can't blame the team if they're not performing, because if I bring them into chaos and there's no structure, there's no training, there's no support, I'm not giving them enough time that they need to actually, I can transfer my knowledge to them. I can't blame other people if they come into chaos, right? And by the way, if you guys, how many of you are relying on sales? I have an incredible sales training that we're going to do on Friday. That's going to be our last day of the live training. So you don't want to miss that. How many of you out there want to be speakers? Put speaker in the training. Speaker. Okay. Let's see. What is today? Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about speaking. I'm going to give you some tools for that. And do you know that we have offers every single day for speaking? Today in my email, there were 4 different offers of people who wanted me to speak at their events, virtual summits and all that. Big names, big events. I can't do it. So you know what I did? I went out and put together a speaking bureau, and I started certifying people to help them become a speaker. All right. So Micah, in fact, if you want to join us and become certified as a speaker, you can click the link and find out about our certified speaker training. Basically, you go through the training, you show up live, you come hang out with me at my house near Yosemite for a few days, and we actually record your speech and give you a speaker reel. And we guarantee that we will book you, because every day we're turning down opportunities. And even the people that are booked to come to this event that's in next month in May, they don't even know this yet, but they're going to get an email from me today saying, hey, I need speakers for this event. Are you ready? They haven't even come to the training and they're already starting to get booked. That's how you learn. That's how you learn. Do you know that there are 7,000 companies every day, just in the US and Canada alone, that are looking for speakers? And I know because they bombard me with emails. Those of you who want to get booked on media, I own magazines. Hello. I've been writing as a journalist for 30 years. I've written for Fortune and Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine. I still do, but I'm busy, so I don't do it as much, and I love it. But guess what? I know how to pitch the media, and I have a lot of friends that are journalists, a lot. In fact, last week I spent half an hour with a producer of Good Morning America. His name is Will. He does their digital campaigns, their digital pitches and everything. Like he goes and finds stories. And you know what he told me? He said that he loves working with regular people, real people that have a real voice and something to say. Not people that are trying to pitch things or sell their books, but real people with a real authentic voice with no experience. They want to hear from you. You just don't know what to say or how to say it. Maybe you know you have this burning story and you want to do this, but if you go on a platform like that and you don't have a way to monetize it, just like if you go on podcasts and just start talking, and at the end you go, okay, thanks, bye. And you don't get paid to do a TED Talk. You don't get paid to go on Good Morning America. Do you guys understand that? You don't. So why do celebrities go on all these talk shows? Because they're promoting a movie. Because they have to. They've got to do publicity to promote things. This is what you do if you're an author, speaker, coach, business owner, expert, right? You want to build your platform. And what you do then is what we show you how to do is monetize that so that all of their audience eventually will end up on your list. Then you can work with them directly. Because when people see you on like Good Morning America, you are Good Morning America to them. You are the expert. That's a lot of credibility. We had a client that was featured in Entrepreneur magazine, and he grew his list by 200,000 people in fourth quarter. 200,000 people that subscribed to a free gift, because I just said, make sure you have a free gift. because he knew he was going to be featured in an article in Entrepreneur that 4 million people saw. 4 million people. Do you know that their online community for just that one magazine is 9 million people every single month that go online to their community? Isn't that nuts? And some of these companies have even more people online than in their print. It was a Good Housekeeping or Better Homes and Gardens. Better Homes and Gardens is over 100 years old. They sent me an email saying, we're going to stop printing. We're just doing digital magazine now. After 100 years. It's crazy. And guess what? They all need content from people like you. So this is where I want you to see me as the kickoff queen, the hookup queen. Like, I'm going to help you hook up with these people because you have something to say, but you better make sure you monetize it first. So I know I'm giving you a lot of ideas because some of you don't know what's your priority. You've got to pick one thing. You can't do everything. So pick that one thing and make sure that you put it in the chat so we know what your priority is over the next 90 days. Is it writing a book? Is it getting certified as a speaker? Maybe it's with our company so we can start booking you, please, because right now we only have like 10 people in our speakers bureau. We just started doing this and I'm getting every day 150 email requests from journalists who want people to be featured, our experts, our best-selling authors, and our speakers and coaches who are experts at what they do. They want to be featured in media and they need a credible expert by 2 p.m. Do you understand that's like a full-time job to just filter all that stuff? It's nuts. There are more opportunities than there are people. There's 7,000 companies every day looking for speakers. And I know because I got 4 opportunities just today when I woke up. Without even soliciting them. They reached out to me. I can't do it all. I got booked to go to Dubai recently for $20,000. In Dubai, that's like $6,000 in US. It's not a lot of money to them. For some of you, it could be life-changing. Some of you may not even be making that in a year. And that's okay. There's no judgment. It's like saying, hey, let's change that. And how do you do it? You do it by tracking. That's why I keep staying focused on this one thing the whole time, because tracking is the most important. Okay. When we go into VIP, I'm going to share what this looks like and give you a visual. Okay. For those of you that are going to stick around and be in VIP in a few minutes, we're going to wrap up this. Okay. So the framework is you got to track what you're doing. Okay. And some people are so used to worrying that no matter what you do, you're in this constant stage of worrying. And that's what creates anxiety and frustration because you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on what you don't have instead of focusing on the few little things that you have. Even if you focus on $5, what you focus on expands. You can grow that $5 into 50 or 500 or 5,000 in a matter of days. There's countless examples of how you can do that. If you need to make money, immediately go back and watch our training from last week here in the Facebook group too. It's 50 ways to make money in the next 7 days. We even went over 50. And guess what? Some of the people that watched that training implemented it and they've made money. This is where I want you to get results because you're taking action on this knowledge. Knowledge alone isn't enough. And I'm a person of faith, but just praying and having faith isn't enough if you don't take action, because God is not going to come down and kick you off the couch and make you go do something, right? All he can do is give you these messages and help connect you with certain people that might be able to help you, but you got to take the action. So you have to have faith, action, and knowledge. Those are the 3 things that you need to change anything in your life. If you don't have the knowledge, go find somebody that does and connect with them and let them teach you. Listen to the people who have what you want. That was the best advice I ever got when I was 18 years old. It has never failed me. I don't reinvent the wheel. Why? When there's somebody else who's already done exactly what I needed to do, which is why we created a mentor business, because a mentor is worth 1,000 coaches and their expertise and advice is invaluable. I didn't have mentors. I couldn't afford them when I was going through the ringer of losing everything in my life. After I lost my son, it triggered a whole bunch of other loss and everything shut down. And it was so scary. And I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't trust anything or anyone. And I was so shut down that it caused other things in my life to shut down. It made it worse. I don't want you guys to go through that. So some of you need to track your emotions, your time, Your finances, if you're trying to lose weight, you got to track what you're eating. If you've got a workout program, you got to track, your reps, like what are you doing every day? Like these real trainers, like they will track how many did they do and how many reps did they do? And this is leg day and this is arm day, and they're tracking it. If you're losing weight, you're starting on the scale and saying, here's where I'm at, here's my goal. And you put it on the wall and you track it. If it's a financial goal, I want you to put every single day to where you see zeros every day. And you're going to get so sick of seeing zeros, you're actually going to do something. Maybe you need to just get on the phone and call your list instead of just emailing them if it's going to spam and they're not responding. And actually have a conversation with people and ask them that question. What do you need to make this the best year? What inspires you? Like, that's a great opening question that engages people. So, what's your monthly target? You can ask your client, what's their monthly target and how can I help you get there? Right? What do you need to do to create income? These are questions you need to answer in order to hit the goal. The framework that you need to use to stack your offer, like once you start making an offer, the framework that you want to use is called CESO. C is connection. Connection converts to currency. So it's CESO. Okay. So you got to connect enough in order for money to come. Connection is currency. You don't connect enough with people, your content doesn't connect. Oprah and Martha Stewart taught me that. They said connection is everything. It's not content, it's connection. Okay. E is for engage. You got to have a conversation with your prospect. Reply to a question, send them to an application page, reply on, if they post on your social media that they like something, reply back and then send them a DM and reach out and ask them a few questions. Don't reach out and say, hey, you want to buy my course? That's like, imagine you meet somebody on a dating app and they say, hey, you're pretty. And you're like, hey, want to get married tomorrow? You want to meet my parents tonight for dinner? And they're going to be like, whoa, what is wrong with that chick? Right? So that's what you're doing when you're desperate and you're like, everybody is transactional and everybody you see is a dollar sign because you're so desperate and you got to make money. And if you're in that space and that energy, people will smell it a mile away. We talk about this with our sales trainings and our sales team. I said, don't have commission breath. You remember Tommy Boy? I love that movie. If you haven't seen it, if you're in sales, you got to watch Glenn Ross. Coffee is for closers. And you got to watch Tommy Boy. And how bad his presentation, he's sweating and it's awful. No matter how bad you do, you're never going to be that bad. But we picture in our minds that we're going to do something and we're going to look that bad. And that fear of looking like that stops us from doing everything. And guess what? It never happens. 99% of the time, it doesn't happen. And even if it does, it's only one person. It's one presentation. You get over it. They get over it. Sometimes they'll buy. I had one of the best weeks of my life when I had laryngitis and I couldn't talk, because it forced me to step back and it forced my team to step up. They got a chance to prove themselves because I couldn't physically talk. And guess what? It worked out great because they all stepped up and did more because I couldn't. So some of you as leaders, sometimes you need to take a step back in order to allow people to step up. Okay, so connection, C, E, engage. S is service. Serve them, give some advice like what we're doing today. Hopefully you guys have found some value in this content. I hope so. It's connecting with somebody, but serve them. Help them by actually helping them. And then O is for offer. So you connect, you engage, you do some kind of service that gives value to their solution or their problem, and then you make an offer. And you can do that on a page, okay? So that's called stacking. Think of a sandwich, right? Sandwiches are better when a bunch of stuff, I love a Cuban sandwich, right? But it wouldn't be the same without the pickle and the mustard. But some people, they don't want pickle and mustard. Some people want gluten-free bread. Okay, we're going to get into this. But sales is really as simple as having a conversation. You're not trying to convince somebody. You're literally saying, how do you like your bread? And they're saying, oh, I like it with butter. Okay, here's butter. Here you go. Oh, I like peanut butter. Okay, here's peanut butter. Here you go. Or they go, oh, I'm gluten-free. I don't like bread. Okay, well, would you like a salad instead? Right? It's just kind of like, some of you may only have one offer, and that's okay. If you only have one offer and it's strong and you're the best in the world at it, And you could be sourdough bread and be the best sourdough bread in the world. And if somebody's gluten-free, or your bread has butter and they're vegan, it doesn't matter how great your bread is. It's not for them. And you're not for everybody, and you're not meant to be. Because if you're for everybody, you're for no one. Remember that. You can't have a product or service that's for everybody. Even toilet paper has, competition. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to think about what problem you're solving and be specific about who you're attracting. Okay, gosh, there's so much stuff we ran out of time to do. This is the thing, like even doing this every day, it's amazing how quickly we go through time. All right, so that's the framework for stacking. What I want to do with stacking is think of it like a sandwich. Okay, so and for VIPs, I'm going to share this with you in a minute visually on my screen. I can't do this through Facebook and everything the way it's structured right here, but I'm going to show you exactly what an offer page looks like. In fact, those of you, Micah, if you're putting those links, those of you, go click on the links that she put in the Facebook page right now, and you're going to see exactly what these landing pages look like, right? Where you have an offer. Maybe there's a short video of here's where you are, here's where you want to be, and here's how we can help you solve it. And you give bullet points of the value that you're going to offer. You're either going to save them time, save them money, help them make money, help them overcome this pain point. What is their bleeding neck problem that you're stopping the bleeding immediately? And what is it worth to them? Because if your offer is going to be better than their pain, they're going to buy. In other words, we have somebody here in our VIP, Sadie. Her husband had a stroke recently. She is coaching on healing because she wants to help people not have a stroke. And I said, what do you think it's worth if you got, let's say, I don't even know, I'm not pretending to know her medical bills, and she lives in Canada, so maybe it's easier there, but in the US, I know, and I think her husband is in the US in the hospital, but I mean, you could be out of pocket $100,000 in hospital bills. If you're in urgent care or ICU for a few weeks, it's devastating financially. Did you know that that the number one cause of bankruptcy right now in the US of A is medical bills? Some people just need an extra $500 a month and they wouldn't have gone into foreclosure and lost their home. That's so scary, right? And it isn't that much when you think about it. But here's the deal. What do you think it's worth to not have a stroke, to not get the cancer diagnosis? What do you think it's worth to prevent it if you have ways to prevent it from happening that you've learned by having that experience, and you could go backwards and go, I wish I would have known this and I could have prevented this, or be aware of it, or do something different? Don't you think that's worth maybe $3,000 if you can teach somebody how to not have a stroke? Or like Richard, if you can help prevent a heart attack because he had one and now he rebuilt his life and is just this incredible, healthy guy with muscles and like guns at 82 years old, right? What's that worth to people? If somebody's getting a divorce and an average divorce costs $100,000 and you have actual tools that can help them be happy in their marriage and not get divorced and repeat old patterns and heal childhood wounds that are causing it anyways, not the person they're with, because they're just going to get divorced and go date the same person over and over, keep repeating the patterns. If you can help people break their pattern and actually save their family and their marriage and their kids' college education fund instead of going to attorneys, isn't that worth $3,000? Do you guys see? So when you can do these things, you want to stack them. So when you make an offer on a page, if your offer is $3,000, then you want to show how all these bonuses and all these things that you're offering are worth $30,000. We do this on our own pages, so go check them out if you want to see this in action, right? In other words, if somebody wants to write a book and be a best-selling author, and they could spend years trying to go get a publishing deal, or we can do it in 8 weeks, and we can show them how to make money before they even write one word. Okay, so that their pain point is, I don't know how to write a book, I don't know how to make money, I don't know what to say, what all these things. What if I do the wrong thing? And then they get overwhelmed. And what do overwhelmed people do? Nothing. Let me tell you something. Every successful person on this planet that's ever done anything did it by not being overwhelmed. They weren't overwhelmed. They did it. They did it because they showed up as a leader. They did what they said they were going to do. They followed through. They took action. They made really tough decisions. They found the right people and they made it happen. So you either make money or you make excuses, because excuses aren't going to pay the bills. And there is more money and more opportunity than there are people right now. And you might hear that, oh, there's 1 million books a month coming out on Amazon. Well, guess what? The majority of them are just people who are Googling things or going to YouTube, and they don't know the strategies because they've never done it before. And maybe they have to go make a bunch of mistakes to do it the cheap way. But there's some people out there like me who don't want to do it the wrong way and go through it backwards and clunky and make mistakes. And it's painful. It's painful, right? It's painful. So those are things I want you to think about in your offer. What solution are you giving? Because if your solution is definitely more valuable than the pain, if your solution is cheaper than the pain it's going to cost them to not work with you, then it's a no-brainer. And then the other thing you need to present in your offer is a runway, right? Everything has to come to an end. So sometimes you might offer a bonus. You might say, okay, if you do this today, by the end of the week, there's a special bonus. For example, if you look at our author blueprint page, it ends today. If you want to take our 8-week challenge, today's the last day. And I'm not kidding. This is the last day. And the bonus is you get 8 weeks of live coaching with me and our team of experts and best-selling authors from, who have done multiple books, right? You get training from experts who are some of the best in the world who've done this with hundreds of people. Guess what? Every single one of our authors that's written a book has become a #1 bestseller, 100% success rate. I don't know anybody else, even some of our big name mentors who have 100% success rate. Because we don't let people fail, not on my watch. And our team is just as dedicated. So that's the thing. That's a real deadline. Because it has to be, because it's a live class and we're starting today and the calls are today and it's going to go for the next 8 weeks so that you can get that result. And if there's no end at 8 weeks, you're going to go, oh, if you can just write it whenever, then you're going to put it off and you're not going to be accountable. And you can do it even if you have only an hour or 2 a week to put into it. Now we have ways of writing books in a few hours. You're going to be shocked at how easy it actually is. It's changed and it's evolved. The business has changed forever. No excuses, no explanations, just results, right? So when you have that kind of an offer and it has a deadline that's clear and you've added a bonus that's very valuable, you can offer, if people want payments, you can offer another bonus for a one-time, right? Like if you have a live event coming up and if they pay in full, then you can give them a free ticket to an event. You can give them a private one-on-one coaching with you. You just have to figure out what is valuable to them. And maybe you have a few different offers for bonuses that you or your sales team can chat with them and find out what really pushes the button for them. What's going to make them do it and say, yes, I'm ready to pull the trigger. Because here's the deal. 95% of the time, if people don't do business with you, it's because they don't trust themselves. It has nothing to do with you. Now, sometimes they get a weird energy. They don't like you. They don't vibe with you or whatever. That's true. That happens sometimes. But if they know, like, and trust you, and they've been on your email list and they've been coming to your trainings and you know that they're obviously interested, or they wouldn't have raised their hand and opted into one of your funnels. Okay. Or they wouldn't have come into your restaurant if they didn't want to eat Mexican food. If they hadn't been interested in solar, they wouldn't have reached out to your solar company to get a quote. So why haven't they made a decision? Because they have doubts and they have fears. And that is the stuff that you have to overcome. That's human nature. There's a lot of negativity. People have been burned by lots of things. I get it every day. I hear people like, oh, I got burned by somebody. I gave them 30 grand and they ran away with my money. And I'm like, that sucks. I've lost way more money than that. And I still take risks and I still invest in myself. I don't invest in other people. Even if I buy their program, it's an investment in me. You guys understand that? Some of you have never invested more than $500 in yourself. You go buy your kids $1,000 worth of clothes, and then you go and shop at Walmart for sweatpants because you're not valuing yourself. It's called self-love. Because you're like, well, I'm putting all my money into my kids. Okay, but guess what? Your kids they need their mom and their dad to be happy. The greatest gift you can give to your children is your own happiness and generational wealth. Teaching your kids to be resourceful, not just giving them resources, teaching them how to overcome things, how to find solutions, to give them the confidence for them to realize that they can solve it. Because you know what? Because mom or dad has what it takes. So your kids don't learn to love themselves based on how much you love them, how much you helicopter them or lawnmower them or hover over them or solve things for them. Your kids learn to love themselves based on how much you love yourself. I learned that the hard way when I got divorced, and it almost cost me my kids and my relationship with them because I had to learn it the hard way. But you lead by example. It's how you show up. Okay. So the last part of this equation is packing. Packing is basically how you package things, right? Just what we talked about. Here's the offer. We're stacking the offer. It's worth 30,000. It's only 3,000 or whatever. However you present that, make sure you give way more value for what this is worth. What's your time worth that you're giving them? And if you need help kind of figuring out what to charge, like all your pricing, we usually will say that if it's a personal development program, like you're a life coach or health or wellness or finances, or, that kind of stuff, usually you want to make that go about up to $1,000. I mean, up to $3,000. If you're doing a live event where you're just presenting something and they just buy it and you don't have to get on a sales call with them as what's called a high ticket sale, you can usually go up to about 1,500 if you have good copy and good training and a good funnel and a good follow-up for email campaign for those who don't open or don't buy. Okay. But if you're talking about an actual service or coaching package or like working with them one-on-one, then it should be about 3,000. And we can show you how to price that out. If you guys want to step in to our Zoom room, we can go over it. In fact, we're going to go over that with some people today. I have Alex set up to go in our hot seat, who's new to VIP today. Alex is the VIP virgin, and we're going to have fun with Alex today. And so that's the thing is like, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know the value of the knowledge that you have that you think is basic. There are people that are willing to pay you for that knowledge. There are people that are willing to pay you for what you know. And it is exciting. You just need to understand a few steps. It's very basic. I promise you, it's not as complicated as you're making it in your head. And when people have been wanting to write a book for 20 years and we finally show them, they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so stupid. I cannot believe I put this off for so long. And it really was that simple. And it was all in my head. I hear that all the time. And guess what? When they write their second book, their third book, it gets easier and easier and easier because once you learn how to do something, you finally get out of your own way and you're not emotional and you don't have any fear because you've done it. When you haven't done it, that's where the fear comes from. It's the fear of the unknown. And anything that's known is considered pleasurable. Anything unknown is considered unpleasurable or painful. This is why we repeat patterns of behavior, because it's comfortable to sit and binge Netflix instead of get up and do something different and get out of our comfort zone and get out of fear mode, because we're comfortable in that. It's safe. And I'm telling you, every single one of you, your dream, your goal, whatever it is, whatever you want is just right outside of that comfort zone. And sometimes you just got to take a leap of faith. So if you have questions about this process, you want to get on the phone with somebody in our team and have a chat about, here's my goal that I made for this quarter. I need direction on how to get there. We have an amazing team of people. We can hop on a call with you. And if I'm available, I will personally hop on a call with you. Can't guarantee it because I got a lot of people that want my time and a lot of people that frankly have paid for my time, that I have to prioritize the people that have paid for my time over the people that haven't, right? Because we're offering a free training, like we've put a lot of time in here in the last 2 weeks, and we offer a free call, a free strategy session where you can get on with me or someone from our team, and we will walk you through that strategy and do like a 30-minute free call to help you figure out what you need to do next and map it out for you. So you don't have to even do that on your own. And Micah, I'm going to ask you to put in the chat here in Facebook the application page. Okay, this is just if you want to book a call with our team. It might ask you questions about a book. Maybe you don't want to write a book. That's okay. Just fill it out and we'll follow through with you to book a call with you. Okay, that's my other commitment to all of you today here to give you a free call. So as of now, we just went through the tracking, stacking, and packing, right? Packaging your offer, packaging the value, and offering that to people, because once you get that set up, You don't have to have a landing page and all that kind of stuff like we did. Literally guys, my first funnel was I would send people an email to a Google Drive and they would click on the document in a Google Drive, and then I would send them to like a PayPal link. I mean, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And by the way, some of you, if you need help, put tech in the chat. Guess what? You can rent out my tech team. It's not that much money. You can commit to like 4 or 5 hours a month if you want. You don't have to do all this on your own. It might take you just a few hours and you're thinking, oh, it's going to cost me $5,000 to create this website and all that. It doesn't. It doesn't. We can help you. We have templated stuff and we can do it usually within a few hours, maybe a day or two at the most. I mean, we built websites in a day or two for people because we do this every day, all day. This is what we do. So if you need help with this stuff, just reach out. I just wanted to jump in here today and have these chats with you guys. And I hope that this has been value for you. And I see I'm looking at some of the comments here on Facebook. Thank you guys for your comments and for engaging with this. And I hope that this has been helpful to y'all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sign off on the Facebook page and we're going to go into our VIP and do some one-on-one training. So I'm going to stop this recording here.